Hey guys, how are you? I hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing a review of a thriller from France, French language English subs, released in the year 2000, directed by Virginie Despentes and Carolee, and this movie is called Baise Moi. So the story of Baise Moi, you've got two ladies. You've got one lady who has been brutally raped and she is just absolutely livid at the opposite sex. All the men in her life treat her really badly and she has dreams of getting revenge and also leaving the area that she's in. Then you've got another female who is a prostitute who also harbours a lot of ill feeling towards men, and then one evening they have a chance encounter with each other. They come together at a train station and they end up being bound together through their frustrations at the opposite sex, and they decide to go on a road trip, and this road trip is going to consist of a lot of graphic sex and a lot of graphic violence, as their frustrations are going to be vented by committing acts of brutality upon unsuspecting men. So this road trip goes to a point of no return, and what happens from that point on is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Baise Moi. This movie has a lot of notoriety. Now, a lot of people are going to hate this film. A lot of critics said that it was absolute garbage and that it was just offensive for the sake of being offensive. So for that reason, I had to give it at least one shot. And I know that it had very graphic sex scenes. This is actually actual sex, so you could bill it as a porn film. There's penetration, there's graphic male and female full frontal nudity. So it's not for the squeamish. If you're easily offended, Baise Moi is not for you. And then it also has a lot of graphic violence as well. So it is a movie that takes things to the extreme. And I thought it would be a movie that was going to symbolise how things were in France, and that it would have a deeper meaning, and it just wasn't going to be about extremity. And so, yeah, there's a lot of troubled history behind this film. One of the actresses in the movie actually committed suicide not long after, and there was another person in the film that was actually molested as a child. So all of that contributed to a lot of notoriety behind the movie, and I was worried coming into the film that it was just going to be extreme for the sake of being extreme. But while yes, it is very extreme for the sake of being extreme, I thought it was very interesting, because although this is not a good movie, it's interesting because of the fact that those who are making the film actually feel like they are venting their frustrations at men through the screen. It actually feels like an excessive exercise against the male gender. And so you've got these directors who, one of the directors was actually a porn director, I believe, so I've read on IMDb. But one of the actors in the film was actually, as I said, molested by a man. And so all of that combined, the history of this film, it actually feels like that is the reason why it's been portrayed on screen so aggressively. This is a very aggressive film. All the men in the movie have no redeemable quality. They actually feel like caricature evil. And then you've got these two ladies who have been very hard done by, and they're kind of trying to fight against this. And as I said, the interesting part of it is that it felt like a symbolisation through the frustrations of those who were actually making it. And you could sense the frustration in the characters as well. So it actually feels like it had a lot of deeper meaning than you would actually first think. So the movie is a simple road trip film, and I like the fact that these directors were willing to splash something out in a very provocative way. They were saying that this is, we're not going to kneel down to censorship, we're going to make a film the way we want to make it, and we're not going to make any apologies for it. So there are scenes that are going to really shock you, but unfortunately that's all the movie has going for it. There are a lot of cattle prod shocks, in that there is nothing created from depth. It's all about what you see. There's graphic sex, graphic violence, and it feels like it's just shocking you by shoving the cattle prod into you. And that sort of shocking value doesn't last for a very long time. So you go to the next scene, there's another shock, and then after a while you start to sense that, okay, these shocks are being made very cheaply. There is nothing that is being of a substantial nature. There is nothing that has been contributed through the characters' motivations or the overall story. It's a very simplistic story, but basically what these directors are doing is saying, okay, we've got a basic story, but this is going to be remembered. We're going to put something that is going to be unforgettable on the screen, but unfortunately, because it doesn't have any depth, it does become forgettable. So once you see the first scene of extreme sex, you're shocked. But then you see another one, and then you start to get used to it, and you start to think, okay, I was shocked at first, but I want to see something a little bit more. And unfortunately, that never comes. I thought the actual actors, the characters in the film were very cardboard cut out. They just felt like killing machines. You get no connection with them, because although they are being treated badly, it never feels realistic. It feels like every character is a caricature, and they're just being so aggressive to them that it feels like it's force-feeding everything to you. And then it actually feels like these directors are just venting their frustrations at what's happened in their life. I don't know if they've been hard done by any men, but it actually feels like the production production of this film is to vent their anger, and it just doesn't feel like it has any sort of thought process behind it, and that is the biggest problem. I thought the acting, a lot of people say the acting was very good. I will say that it's not bad, but it didn't have anything to play with. It was a pretty easy role that these girls had to play. They don't play a wide range of emotions, and some of the story is a little bit contradictive. It doesn't feel like it's very realistic. And it's just set in a world of just pure aggression. So if you like this kind of thing, I would recommend Baise Moi. I think it's an excessive sort of venture into being provocative just for the sake of it. And when you've got nothing behind it, it does wear thin very, very quickly. It only goes for 73 minutes, but it feels like it goes for a lot longer than that. I just couldn't get into it. I do applaud them for pushing the boundaries, but yeah, you've just got to have something a little bit more substantial to actually carry the film over the line. So very troubled history, which makes the movie interesting. But apart from that, rest in peace to the actual female who committed suicide, one of the actors who committed suicide. That was a tragic story. Rest in peace to that woman. So yeah, a very troubled history, very notorious film for its graphic depictions of sex and violence. But apart from that, it is quite a boring movie, and as a result, I'm going to give it half a star. Alright guys, it's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.